Y'all, what's good? It's your boy Whispy Woods. And welcome to part 2 of Whispy Theories, episode 5. Now listen, if you have already seen episode 5, part 1, then you already know by now the significance to the colors, okay? Not necessarily do you know the full consistency of what they mean, okay? But we do know, once again, that they are relevant. One thing I want to point out right now is in the first verse, okay? And many of you have pointed this out, even though I know, okay, you guys, like, don't worry. Omega means the end. Now, a few of you have theorized that, okay, well, it means the end of the world. That's one way to take it. Don't get me wrong, I'm not hating on you guys' theory. But another way to take it that you're probably not thinking about is the fact that it is based on backwards symbolism, okay? From omega to alpha, from beginning to end, okay? Which is why chapter 1 is omega, and back again, okay? Backwards, rearranged. Think about it, all right? And from Z to A, we as a people have consistently got things backwards, okay? You have to think about this shit. It is symbolism. What are certain lies are clear truths. Just like the colors, okay? They're talking about inversion, all right? Inverting things. And reversing and rearranging. But they all mean about the same thing. Backwards symbolism. Now I'm going to show you one of the steps that we should have looked at, and it starts from Z to A. And like I said, we are starting from Z to A, alright? But you need to understand, like I said, it's backwards, meaning the truth, A to Z, alright? Like I said, when they're telling you an obvious lie, you are to believe the truth, okay? One truth I want you to believe right here is the fact that, like I said, a lot of the artwork, alright, in this man's house are part of Easter eggs. One thing that I believe, one sure reason I believe that they tried to point you towards the art in his house was the fact that they put R North here. Meaning, you guys, meaning they wanted you to pay attention to what's around his house at some point for some type of significance, okay? Now, listen and open your mind. Why have we not focused on this horse? It is artwork, but it's also something else. And now what I'm showing you is the Leonardo da Vinci sketchings of a horse, okay? And like I said in my previous video, philosophers, okay, are tied to animals, the birds, the symbolism. It's all conjoined. All of it, okay? Now, like I said, he was obsessed with horses, so much that they built a monument. Looks a lot like the one in Michael's house, doesn't it? Now, don't get me wrong. There are other versions of this horse, like I said, in Michael's house. Just like this one right here. So, understand what I mean about the symbolism, you guys. Okay? They are tied to the things they want you to look up. Okay? Philosophers. Alright? Now I'm going to prove to you, once again, if you didn't realize, or even take the time to read the tract, that they make it very clear that philosophers are a part of this whole situation. Chapter 3, verse 1, Chi. And fantastic epsilonist, like all the great thinkers and philosophers. Alright? They have been pointing to the word play, you guys. They want you to pay attention. Alright? And another thing that I find very interesting is that they say that the egg, okay, resided in a lake. And the same color of cayenne or cyan, as I proved in my last video, is aqua blue. Okay, and now what we're looking at is just another big correlation, you guys, a link between philosophers, like I said, one of the missing ones, which is Da Vinci. Okay, if you were skeptical about the fucking philosophers before, when I just showed you a picture that kind of looked like fucking Mona Lisa, I'm going to conclude at the end of the video, at the end of this video, that I'm going to prove it, period. Philosophers are what they want us to pay attention to. They are one of the many things that we left out from the beginning, okay? And I'm going to prove that not only is it one of the main things that we were supposed to pay attention to, but philosophers and their discoveries are tied to things in the fucking game. Now, I'm going to show you something relevant to my last part of the video, which is, like I said when I showed you the cormorant bird, it was related and called the liver bird, but the key word is liver. And if you didn't know, which I'm going to show in this part of the video right now, all right, this is the Liverpool estate or building, the liver building, okay? And the Liverpool building had the cormorants on the top, 2 light blue twin cormorants, okay? Now that I've shown you that, I'm going to show you the correlation between Liverpool and Leonardo da Vinci. Because I'm telling you, there's a reason they wanted you to understand the liver bird, so you can understand one more thing that we have been missing, which is Leonardo and his work. Flight and Science Research Group. Alright? It's one of the things that is featured at the University of Liverpool. And look at their fucking logo, you guys. If you can get a clear look at it, they are the same fucking cormorants, and they have the seaweed coming out of their mouth. Alright? The seabird. And I'm trying to tell you guys, this shit is correlated. Listen, okay? This battle, talking about the battle between craft and unsavables, this battle we must win. Just like the end of a movie. Movies are obviously based on just certain things, like that wordplay is based on certain things within the game and how it's based on certain movies, Back to the Future and so on, okay? Including those made by and starring many top celebrities who are themselves epsilonists, okay? Just like most top philosophers, okay? So now before I show you another correlation with the philosophers and sum up what the fuck I'm talking about and how I show you guys proof that my process of understanding the game is only making us understand why they did certain things, before I show you that, I want you to understand, don't be too confused with the last video I shown about the color of the egg and looking for an actual egg or any of that, okay? Because once again, that is thinking too fast. I'm not accusing you of doing it, but I need you to understand, don't even go that route. Don't think too fast, okay? We need to go at this at a pace of understanding, okay? We have understood now that the birds do have a relevance. And I'm sorry, you guys, but I have nailed that fucking coffin. I don't even honestly want to talk about birds unless it's a new part of the discovery. Now that that is said, pay attention to something that is tied to Galileo, okay? I don't even need to bring up the relevance of Galileo in this game because we know that he's relevant, okay? And this is one of the major things that they wanted you to pay attention to, okay? When it comes to understanding the bird's eye view of certain aspects of things, like a map, or like a mountain, or like a planet, okay? The Galilean moons are the moons that were discovered by Galileo. And not only do we know that moons are related to the game, I mean, it's just a fact, you guys. But one thing I want to show you is something very interesting when you see that about 3 of these, okay, are tied within their resonance, okay? And I find it very odd that through all of this gaining of knowledge, okay, that I've understood something about looking at the aspect from a bird's eye view, okay? Now before I show you this, I want you to understand that Io, okay, is a planet completely filled with volcanoes. And if you didn't watch my first video where I mentioned that the Epsilon Tract was talking about impossible feats like a volcano erupting downward and imploding, okay? Not only did they want you to make the correlation between it and doubters, that's one aspect, but they wanted you to make the correlation between the volcano, the wordplay aspect, duality, okay? Understand, 2 things can mean one, okay? And vice versa, alright? Now, like I said, I'm going to sum it up with this, and I hope that if you can truly understand what I'm going to show you, okay? So now what I'm showing you, alright, is a big, once again, correlation with the game and the philosophers. And I'm telling you guys, the philosophers are what are going to teach us things, okay, about this game. The philosophers, the different symbols that the cults are telling you about are going to teach you things about the game, but you need to understand that it is wordplay. It's not physical, okay? And this is one of the proofs that they do have something to do with it, but it's to learn and understand, okay? It's not something you fucking grab, alright? It's something that you need to just understand, alright? 1, the Io, which is the first moon that I showed you that is tied to volcanoes, okay, was the first satellite of Jupiter. Satellite. We already know this game has a lot to do with satellites, okay? And one thing I want you to pay attention to right here is us looking at these moons and or satellites and Jupiter from a top-down position. And when you see it from a top-down position, what do you get? A clock, alright? You see the second hand, the minute hand, and the hour hand, and they move in this resonance permanently. They move in this resonance on a 1-2-4 resonance, okay? Understand that the 1-2-4 resonance, okay, does have something to do with GTA, and I'm going to show you in a second. But I do want you to understand that this is not just relevant because they're moons, you guys. We know that moons have something to do with GTA and the timing of certain Easter eggs, okay? But epsilon, okay, if you didn't know, are Greek letters, alright? And all 3 of these moons, even including Jupiter, are part of Greek mythology, alright? Now that's one thing tying these things together. That's one. Now, another thing that's going to tie these things together are the things that we never even took the time to look up. We just thought they were coincidences. Okay, and that's my biggest points about underestimating coincidences. Notice how you start off with 1, okay, and then it goes up 2, and then it goes up 4. Now, when you apply this, okay, the philosopher's work to the game, so understand this is what ties part of the game, okay? Now, I want you to pay attention. Michael sleeps for 6 hours, okay? Time. 1, 1. Alright? And Franklin sleeps for 8 hours. Add 2 to 6. you get 8 hours. Add 4 to 8. What do you get? Trevor sleeps for 12 hours. You guys, bird's eye view, philosophers, understand epsilonism is not just a religion. They don't even clarify themselves as a religion. They clarify themselves as a science. Alright? Because it's all part of patterns and puzzles and word plays and theorizing a lot of things. But if you doubt, you will never find anything. Chapter 1, verse 2. To be an epsilonist is to be rich in powerful tools. Tools are held in the belt by some judgmental doubters and in the mind of others, true hunters. The most powerful tool of all is the tool of manifest generosity toward ideas. Positiveness. Spread the truth.